Open up the Town Council Work Session Tuesday, April 29th, 2025 at 4 p.m. being held in the Council Chamber, 150 East Monroe Street in Wytheville. So next is to an approval of the agenda. I think we have
an amendment for the agenda. To add a closed meeting pursuant 2.2-3711, discussion regarding the town manager position.
All right, so we have I need a motion, an amendment. Motion, a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, here none. It's going to be a roll call vote, please. We'll start with Vice Mayor Johnson.
Johnson, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Joseph Hand, aye.
All right, thank you all very much. All right, so I guess we go into the discussions regarding the proposed budget for fiscal year 2025-26.
Yes, ma'am. I think Andrew is going to start us off by talking about water rates and potential water rate increase. We talked about that, I think, at least once before, and this is a new plan that basically targets the larger water users and does not affect users under 10,000 gallons per month.
That's what we want, is more paper.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrew. Thank you.
Is that not in here?
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, can everybody hear me? All right.
Yes. For the minutes, will you please speak your name?
Andrew Austin, Assistant Director of Public Utilities and Engineering for the town of Wytheville. Today, what you see before you is a sample rate that last time I was here was requested that would focus more on the high tiers and less on the lower tiers. So our rate structure as it currently sits, we have our base rate, and then we have 7 tiers above that. The last tier we could pretty much get rid of. There is nobody within the town of Wytheville that uses that much. The reason why is, although Gatorade and Pepsi do actually use more than that, they have 2 meters, so it splits their usage into 2 accounts. So the proposed rate that I have in this sample would keep the base rate the same. The 0 to 3,000 gallons, the 3,000 to 10,000, and the 10,000 to 25,000 gallons, almost exactly the same. The only difference, you'll see a 36-cent increase on that 10 to 25. Then going up, I went with a flat rate of $7, which is a decent jump, but trying to get that revenue to match what we're looking to do the projects and also the improvements that we need in our infrastructure. Somewhat in the same ballpark, you'll see at the bottom, this will generate on the water side alone $1.117 million, and on the sewer side $447,000. The reason they seem more lopsided is our largest water customer is not our sewer customer. So it doesn't equal apples to apples. On the next page, using these same rate structures, this breaks down each category user and what their bill will look like. So for that 3,000 gallon user, you'll see that there is no change in their bill with this plan. For the 5,000 gallon user, which industry standard is a household is usually around 4,000 gallons. So this is your Joe Public. Will have 0 effect on his bill. For the 10,000 gallon, you'll see a 45-cent increase per month. For the 25,000 gallon, you'll see a $13.58 increase. For the 100,000 gallon user, you'll see an increase of $293.96. This 100,000 gallon, the sample account that I actually pulled is a hotel. On your last tier, which, as I said, there is no one that actually falls within here. I'm sorry. I didn't include the last tier. For this last tier on this rate sheet, the 3.5 million gallon user, their increase would be $1,637. You're looking at the hospital, Carrington Place, TA Truck Centers, Sonic America, large industries. And then at the very bottom, we have our largest water and sewer user. Their bill will change, and this is actual average usage from 2024. Their average bill will change $31,673. And then on the last page, I did a comparison with the proposed rate and our surrounding peers, being Pulaski County, the town of Pulaski, and Wythe County. To my knowledge, currently, at least two of these localities are looking to do a rate increase this coming year. So this is just a snapshot in time. So if you look at our highest ratepayer for both water and sewer, and our total bill for a month of average usage, it would be $153,830. In comparison to Pulaski County's $157,348. The town of Pulaski's $122,544, and Wythe County's $209,598. Just to give you an idea of kind of where we sit within our neighbors. Then the loose sheet of paper just kind of gives you an idea of where we sit as far as how our citizens and business partners participate in our water. We have about 3,772 meters within town. Out of all of those, 91.3% are a 5/8 or a 3/4 meter. So that's your basic residential meter. Out of that 91.3%, that gives those residents the capacity to pool 54.3% of the amount of water that we can produce. For 8.7% of the meters are larger than that. So very small amount of meters. 45.7% of our capacity flows through those 8.7 meters. We have two commercial customers that use 45.2% of all our billable water that we send out into the system. Just two. If you add the next 37 highest users, that accounts for 70% of all water that we produce and send out into the system. So out of everything that we do, 39 customers receive 70% of it. And then the rest, which would be 3,730, utilize the other 30%. So that's, hopefully that gives you a good snapshot of what we're looking at. And maybe we can figure out the best way to move forward. We have, I'm still waiting for our consultant to give me his overview of how our water system can be improved through a rate structure. A lot of these numbers came from him, and I had to go back and check them because it shocked me a little bit. So once he comes back with his proposal on moving forward and balancing our revenue against our expenses with our water and our wastewater, I'll be back to present that to you. So, is there any questions about this information today that I might be able to answer?
I'm very happy to see this, so thank you very, very much.
Very welcome.
I'm glad to see that the rates won't change for
The classes that we talked
constituents.
about.
That was the most important thing.
Yes.
And what's really interesting is we're still in the range of all of our neighbors. We're not
Very much so.
out of range at all. Actually,
Right.
we might be a little on the lower side still yet, interestingly enough, so.
In
That's good to know.
my opinion, I mean, if you take that largest water and sewer customer out of the picture, we're still much lower than our neighbors.
Anybody have any more questions or concerns? I'm sure we'll take it home and study it and then have lots of questions.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, Steve, I think COLA amount is on the agenda next.
That's right. Next, Laura has information about the COLA.
Basically, what I did was I took the last worksheet that we had last time, and I just updated it with the 4% COLA. And then I put in the notes at the bottom that if we use the straight number across the board for each full-time employee, the amount based off of 195 employees at the time that we're looking at this would be $2,064.53 per employee. Now, that could change a little bit when we get to July 1st, depending on the number of employees we have. You know, we may have a couple more, a couple less, and it could change, you know, $10-ish dollars maybe. It'd probably more than likely go down if we hire more people, so that rate could change just a little bit. But I did put that together in a worksheet for you. Just out of curiosity, I did look at it. Our lowest paid employees, if we hire someone in at $15 per hour, that's $31,200. And if they get this amount of a COLA, that's basically like a 6.5% increase for them. Higher paid employees, you look at someone that's 100 or more, they're getting like 2%. So I kind of just did just out of curiosity to see the difference of the percentages that would be received for, you know, some of the employees. So that's what that would be.
I have one
So,
question. If you have
yes.
somebody that just starts there, they won't receive that raise immediately, will they? If they start, you were saying if somebody starts new at $31,000?
Oh, as far as the COLA, I'm thinking if they're here like a month prior, so.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
I think it's like a 30 days prior. That's what I'm thinking. Is that, do you recall, Elaine?
For the budget numbers, it would be effective July 1 with your new budget. So
Yeah.
your numbers would be reflected in the department.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they would have to wait till July 1.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay,
Right.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And what were we going to do? Can you refresh my memory for the part-time people? Was it 3.5?
3%.
Oh, 3%,
Mhm.
okay.
And that's already been, I think that's already been figured in the budget.
Okay.
Mhm. So they were
3%.
3%.
Okay.
Any other questions about just the COLA?
Are you getting any questions from employees?
There's been a few people that have said, you know, we kind of don't like the fact that we might have gotten more if it had just been the straight 4%. But I've only heard from like maybe 2.
I did
So,
have
I don't know.
someone, I did have someone reach out to me, and they have a lot of years of service and probably are up the ladder. I'm assuming, I didn't ask them what they made, but they did reach out to me and just said, you know, that they wish we'd have more dialogue on this. I don't know if it's something, I know we are put here to make hard decisions like this. I don't know if it's something that we make an employee in, I'm sorry, I didn't know if it was something that we could maybe poll the employees, see how they feel, what you all think. I was really good with the 4%. I think that's great for a lot of people. And I hadn't heard anything up until today. I did,
You
you know,
did?
have
Okay.
somebody that concerned, you know, that is concerned. They did say they were good either way we decided to do, but if we could maybe just have a little bit more dialogue on it, it's whatever you all, you know, think. And you all, some other people may have had some people out, you know, reach out to you all.
I've had dialogue with a couple
Okay.
employees. They weren't really good with the way we have determined. They think it should be based on their length of service here. The older ones that have been here feel like they're being shorted. I mean, an employee that just came to work 6 months ago is going to get 2,064, and the woman that's been here over 20 years is going to get 2,064. So maybe we could.
Is there a way we can maybe split
I think we need to
years
go
of-
back to the drawing board.
I agree with
We
you,
need to go
Ms.
back to the
Johnson.
drawing board.
I really do.
Being an employee that had many years of service,
Yes.
I can relate and empathize with what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because I would not want a line officer to come in and receive 2,064 when I've worked 22 years and I'm only getting 2,064. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board and take a look at it, because even though it was a fair amount for everyone, it really isn't fair to the people who have served the town for 30 years, some 30 plus years. And you've got people that serve 20 years, 20 plus years. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board and take a look at it. And we need to do right by those who have provided us with the years of service. You know, and I'm not trying to shun anybody that is new, but at the same time, the people with all the years of service, they've earned their money.
Right.
I mean, that's just how it is. They've earned their salary. And so I think we need to go back to the drawing board and take a look at it and see what we can do.
I do like the aspect of people not making as much. I do like the aspect of giving them a bump. That way we're not asked departments come in later on down the road and say, hey, I think we need a bump or whatever. I don't know if there's a way we can split it, like, I don't know, but maybe I'd like to see the lower salary people get a good boost, but also take care of our veterans as well. So maybe we can try to do something like that. I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if we could have a cutoff year of, if you've been here 10 years, we'll do this, and then these, or 5 years or something. Maybe we can look at the range, or, like I said, maybe poll the employees and get their opinion.
And of course, probably most of those lower ranges are going to be in the newer personnel.
Yeah.
I would argue that a little bit. You have a lot of people that have been here 10 years and 15 years that aren't even making 50,000. So there is a significant number of people that have been here for years that aren't even making 50. So I guess I understand your point. I was trying to do something on the opposite end, but I understand exactly what you're saying. I don't know the answer. I am very pleased that we're talking about it, because I don't really know. But keep in mind, there are people that have been here for a long time that are still under 50. So those people would be getting more.
Yeah,
So
I'd
they're not
like to
all new.
look at something, and like I said, I hadn't had anybody reach out to me except today, and I'm like, because I think it's a great idea for the bump.
Right.
For the ones not making much. I think it's great. But like I said, I didn't think about the like I said, the person did reach out to me and say, hey, if y'all looked at this, and I'm like, okay, but I explained to them I would bring it up. I've got it.
And that's how come I did look at the percentages based off what people were making. The person that did come to me was a department head and said they'd had a little pushback from a few employees. So maybe I could put together a spreadsheet that would kind of break it down by years of service and
Would that be okay for y'all?
and salary amounts, and see what it looks like. Would that help?
Sure it would,
Okay.
right?
Mayor Taylor, if I just may speak up, one of our challenges is the timing. So we're supposed to be going into our first reading of the budget, I think at your next meeting. Is that correct, Ms. Corbin?
Yes, the May 12th meeting.
So again, it's one of those things, and I feel like I'm always the Debbie Downer on the timing thing, but you have a couple options. You could just wait to do your COLA till after the new year begins and do like a mid-year appropriation. But because this particular item will affect all of your departments, it's a pretty hefty part of your annual budget. So if you want it to be in this, the July 1 effective budget, you probably would need to make your decision sooner as opposed to later. Correct, Mr. Moore?
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe you could establish a percentage, if it's 4%, and then how it's distributed is still in question. And it really wouldn't affect the budget dramatically. The overall budget would not be affected by that. But it would take some wrangling between now and the final budget adoption as to how that's distributed.
Because I have figured it both ways for the budget. I figured it with just a straight 4%, and then I also figured it at the 2,060 per person as far as each department goes. So I've got a spreadsheet with both in it right now, both ways.
So when was the last time we did this? How many years ago? Several?
I'm assuming you had a COLA last year.
Oh, yes.
Well, I mean, but
Oh.
the bumping it, well, not necessarily bumping it up, but doing it everybody across the board type thing.
I don't
I'm
know.
not
Has
sure
it ever been
that's
done
ever-
that way?
I know you were on,
Yeah, but that was
At
only
that
for
time.
The Christmas bonus.
They were doing
That
this
was
for the
a little
Christmas.
different, so we,
It's ever been done like this.
but we
Okay,
never
can't
did,
recall that it's
I don't
ever
think.
been
No, you're
the
right, it was a
annual- It was
Christmas.
just a Christmas. And I would just say, you probably haven't heard from the 95 people who are going to get more money, because I counted, there's 95 people. You haven't heard from them, have you? So we have to be fair. I mean, they're the ones who's probably like, wow, we're going to get paid more, and they're under 50. Some of those are making 38,000. So what the town has done that we're so pleased with is we are working on trying to get those pay scales up, which would help. I think if we work on it from that side, then we can just do a straight 4%, and that'll be fine. But the people on some of those jobs, I would like us to look at some of their pay scales and see what we could do with those over the next year. Think about that if we're just going to do a straight raise. Because we need to talk about some of these skills. They are all over the board, which makes this complicated, because the cost of gas is the same for all of us. That was my point. Electric is the same for all of us.
And I think that's a good point. I mean,
There's
I
no
thought it
more
was a great,
expense
I
for
mean,
somebody who
right.
makes more than somebody who makes less. It's all that. However, I understand how they see it's not fair. I get that. Totally get that. So how do we fix it? I don't know. But if we work on some of these pay scales, maybe we won't be in such a position with this annual raise. Just a thought.
So we did the Bolton study in, 2022, 23? So how, I'm trying to figure out how I don't understand how we've gotten so far behind, because we brought everybody in accordance with the pay scales. And so then they received a 3% raise last year. So we shouldn't be that far behind. I know that with the water and the sewer, that's something that we do need to look at. We have to look at, because that is behind. But then we just did a study that they paid a lot of money to do, but yet you're saying we're far behind. But we were supposedly brought up to scale and up to par, and then we gave COLA increases to keep those people ahead with the cost of living. So we do need to look at it, because I'm curious to know how far behind we are. I thought that we were moving right along. So
I guess
but maybe
my
I'm
question-
wrong. Maybe that some new pay raises have come out and pay scales have come out that I'm just not aware of.
So on the Bolton study, was that for every job in the town, or was that for certain categories? of
Every
jobs?
job.
Every
job
job.
in the
job.
town,
Perfect.
so.
Okay.
And it took
Yes.
the median salary range nationwide, okay? Not just Southwest Virginia or Virginia, but nationwide, okay? And that's what it was based on. One thing I remember Mr. Freeman saying, it didn't take into account specialty jobs, essential workers, okay? It didn't take in their skills.
Right.
And that's probably
And
where
that's
we're in
probably where
trouble.
we're in trouble.
Because that's where the water and sewer people leave and other departments of essential employees. So when I say behind, it's the water and sewer, we're $9,000 behind according to what they're asking for. So something happened between 2022 and now for them to say, actually, they're saying we're 7,000 behind. And then if we give another 2,000 on top, that would take it to $9,000 increase for those folks. They're going to be pretty far behind to get a $9,000 raise. So something happened there.
Well, and some, I will be honest with you, some were tweaked. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I'm talking about these people it's not everybody, it's just departments. The street maintenance guys, the trash guys, these are essential workers. And so those are the jobs I was speaking about specifically that I think we're behind on.
One of the things that I was told about the Bolton study was that everyone was given certain paperwork and they were to fill it out about their positions. And they felt like some of the street maintenance workers, some of the essential employees like that, didn't actually know how to complete or put everything on there that they probably should have in order to sustain a good increase. I mean, that was just one of the things about the Bolton study I was told. So
and
I don't know.
They weren't helped with that. They weren't helped with filling
Well,
out.
it's
I
know.
department. So that was one of those. And then when you look at fire, rescue, and PD, they're asking for huge wage increases. So something happened. I don't know if that's since 2022, but there's a lot of wage increases being asked. So something's driving that in order to retain people. That's what I assume is driving that.
The fire department and your police departments are I think they're two totally different things when it comes to, because that is more of a competitive field.
Yes.
So you have agencies that, if they've got the money, they raise salaries.
Right.
And so to get the best people. And so what happens is, if they see somebody in our department that they want, hey, bud, we just got raises over here. You
Yeah,
can
come on
and join
over.
us. That's how that works. And so you're dealing with competitive salaries when it comes to fire employees.
Right, which is why those should be looked at every 2 years and make sure we're always current with those, because right now they're saying we're still not competitive. So that's what I was saying. We are behind on a few department heads are saying to me we're behind, and that's where that's coming from. But I'm fine with a 4% raise across the board, however you guys want to do that. I was just trying to think of these folks over here, and I don't know how to do that without, I don't know any other way. However, I understand that's just how it works. That's just how it is.
Yeah, and I mean, if we could look at it being split, I mean, it seems like sometimes we're always, and I know this is horrible to say, we're always on a time crunch. But I would like to see if there would be some way we could do like a hybrid, plan, like give a bump to the lower paid employees, and then the ones with years of service, something to equal out.
Okay.
That's probably going to be really hard to
That's
do.
going to be hard.
Yeah.
However, I like your idea.
I mean,
just
you're
don't
going to
know
have
who
a
in the
hard
world's
time
gonna do it.
where to split. And,
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll run something that we can
Well, I mean,
look
I
at.
just didn't know, like, 5 years, 10, something. And like I said, I should have probably thought about that, but I do like Mr. Hand's idea about giving the ones a bump. I mean, it's really both great ideas.
Mr. Kessel, you have any thoughts on something like this, sir?
I think because of your budget timelines that are not movable, that you all seem to be in agreement that 4% sounds like a good number. And then you can work out differential plans and amend your budget down the road that would amend the department stuff. I mean, it would take some work, but it's doable. But that'll at least let you get the budget done if you can agree that, hey, we want to increase salaries as a whole 4%. And then you can figure out as you go. And I think that's what I heard Mr. Moore say as well. So, I agree with him that I think that makes the most sense. And then you can look at other stuff. Now, those amendments to budget require some work, but that doesn't mean we can't do it. Elaine, do you have any other thing
I
on
mean, I
that?
think that could work. I guess my concern would be how we advertise that in the paper, because I know traditionally when we have to advertise the budget, isn't it by usually like the categories of the?
It will be, and so the budget that you'll be proposing will be a 4% raise,
In
a
each
4%
department.
increase in raise, and then the difference is if that were to get changed, then it would be at a budget amendment.
You'd have to advertise it maybe at whatever time you amended it.
Yes, but I would think that would be down the road. You're not going to be able to figure that out quickly, I would think, and then that may be something that's best to implement in a future budget year.
It'll probably take time to plan, so maybe in the future we can talk about how next year you might want to do something.
I think that
Yeah.
would be smart. I think,
Yeah.
and
Just
if
move
you
forward
work,
now.
I would work on it throughout the year and then implement it in your next budget year. You're wanting this, the hybrid that Ms. Atkins is talking about.
So maybe go ahead and do a
10 years.
4% across the
Yes, ma'am.
board,
Yes, ma'am.
4% for everybody, and then, okay.
And then we'll have time to think about it in the future.
And Ms.
Thank you
Elkins
for
will
letting
work
me
Yes.
at least
on
entertain
hybrids
the idea.
for
Yes.
you during the pendency of this year.
And we can also look at the lower departments if, we can look at the pay scales and different things in the future, definitely.
And you could do something like 5 years to 10 years
I
to
really like
15
that idea a
years,
lot.
and
Yes,
and then
we
have
can
that,
split those up and look,
every year, whatever.
yes.
do it
Yes,
that way.
moving forward, we can put together several different scenarios, for sure.
So we're going to go a 4% across the board this year, right? Okay, for full-time, and then 3% for part-time. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Ellis, I want to make
Yes.
sure I understand.
Okay.
These figures you gave us are based off of the 195 employees.
Yes, they are.
okay.
They're out of the actual budget and
Yes.
the positions in the budget.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that I'm reading it right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
And I think that council's, what they're thinking is everybody is underpaid, what we're thinking, right? So to speak.
Did you say everybody's underpaid? Is that what you?
Well, I'm thinking that a lot of people are, that everybody is sort of,
Well, I think that the
I guess I'm wrong.
essential positions.
guess y'all weren't thinking that.
Yeah.
Essential positions. like
Essential jobs are the ones I think we might want to look at first, and those seem to be the ones that the non-essential positions are paying quite well. So it's kind of a flip side there, but we can talk about all that in the future. So
Some of the essential positions we need to look at those.
yes, ma'am.
I would like to know who got raises within the last year and a half. I think it could possibly be that a couple of people got some substantial raises. So I want to take a look at that. I've asked Miss.
We're working
requested
on
some
pulling
things.
those.
She's working on some things, not just for me, but I asked for her to work on it for all of council, so that we can take a look at who has received raises within the last year and a half to 2 years, so that we do things fairly for everyone.
I have a theory about all this. I think we're in a whole new employee market since COVID. I think that's one thing that's impacted everybody's salaries, and I think it's universal in Southwest Virginia. You're going to continue to see that kind of increase going forward. So to watch it annually and make comparisons, I think is going to be important. I think the other compounding factor has been the baby boomers are all retiring, and that's drying up the employee resource, and so you see a continual pressure to increase those prices as the employee market gets scarce. But that's just my personal theory about it. So.
And I know
And we're-
years ago when I worked, you would never to me, people just never asked for raises. Isn't that right, Mr. Moore? You just didn't, and I'm just,
Right,
but
right.
but now times have changed, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, which is fine, but,
I'm still old school.
There are studies showing less.
I'm old school too.
Less replenishment in the lower ranks of public safety employees. So you have less people going to the public safety. So I think that's one thing that's driving some of your essential employee raises is that I think there's less people going in.
Thank y'all thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good conversation.
Yes, very good.
Do we need to vote on this?
I think as long as you're okay with the 4%, we're good
And
in a
you're
direction with the
approving your
budget. Right. And health insurance premium.
Yes.
You're up next.
I'm up next. Okay, I have handed out a packet that says health insurance updates. More papers. And I kind of just went off of it. I sent you an email once I had found out some information. The local choice, Total Local Choice, contacted us and let us know that our open enrollment is going to change. It's moving from May 1st from May 1st to May 15th to May 16th through May 30th. So that's good. If you guys intend on making any changes, that'll give us, the employees a little bit more time. And according to TLC, we do not have to do anything with them if you decide to change the employer share. They basically said as long as we paid the total amount that was due on the invoice, that they were happy. We do have a worksheet that I provide to Cardinal, and Cardinal is the one that's kind of like the middle person. They keep up with our ACA count, and at the end of the year, when you get that 1095 form that says whether you are enrolled in insurance or you're not, they're the ones that provide that for us. I did have to do an updated sheet for them as of April 1st with our split for employee and employer, and I cannot go back and change that. But it still doesn't affect if you make a decision to change anything. Ms. Pattison provided me with some information regarding the blended rates, and I attached a copy of what she provided to me. It was from a public hearings and request resolutions and council decisions as of April 22nd, 2024. And if you'll look on page 2, I highlighted what was stated during that meeting. It says the ordinance does not account for the differing rates of available insurance plans. For example, the KA 250 plan has a premium of $1,064 per month, and the KA 500 plan has a premium of $948 per month. To level the benefit amongst all plan participants, Anthem requires that the town average these two premiums, and to establish a fixed amount the town will contribute to each employee regardless of the plan. And that's what they considered that blended rate. So I went back and also looked at, I know that people seem to think that, all employees were getting the 92.7, when in actuality they were getting 87.85. So I also looked at if we did change that per employee, we have 152 that are enrolled in the single plan, and if we change that to 92.7%, that's an increase of about $100,000 a year on our budget as far as insurance. And we do not tell people when they're hired that they are going to get 92.7% from the employer. We just provide them with our premium rate sheet and tell them what their portion is going to be and what the town portion will be and what their actual payment is for the month.
And are they aware that the council votes on that every year, on that percentage? When I was on council, we voted for it every year.
Okay.
Is that still, that's what we're doing now? We're going to vote
Right.
on what percentage? So it's never
Right.
really
Yes.
fixed?
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that is basically the update on that 92.7%. So I wanted to give you the figures and also what it would be if you decided to actually do that for the single employee. I know we can't do that for the employee plus one and family, but what are your thoughts?
Thinking.
Okay, thinking, okay.
Thinking.
I'm thinking that the town, we have the best policy you can get. The town employees, absolutely, this is the best policy available. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
and-
I researched about everything you could, and we do have good policies.
And I feel like the rate we are paying now is appropriate, personally. However, it's whatever you guys want to do. Because if you want to increase pay, we're going to have to look at all these things that we want to increase, we're going to have to somewhere draw a line on something. And I would rather increase the pay for some folks if we could, but it's just a thought. That's just my sense.
And I did another employee health info sheet, and it was where you guys talked about upping the employer rate for the employee plus one and the family. So the second sheet has that information and how that would change the employee share for all those policies. So I provided that for you. And for instance, like right now, we only have 14 total enrolled in employee plus one and family. I don't know how much this would change during renewal, if more people would decide to take it. If there may be a few, I would think. But, you know, you're going from $15.91 to $13.91 for a family for our best plan. So I don't know.
I don't know if that's enough for them to jump.
Right. I mean, it's still good that
It's
it's still
good
good,
there.
but yes, I don't know how many people it would sway to do the family plan there.
But it would help those
Yes,
who
yes.
do have the family plan.
Absolutely, yes.
Extra
The
money.
one that already has, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's good.
So,
So this too, we don't have to decide on this moment, or do we have time to think about this, or do we have to decide tonight? I know, I got the look from Elaine, okay.
I would like for
I
you to
understand,
do
I
it pretty
understand.
soon, just because we need to get it
I
out
understand, yeah. I
to
didn't
the
know why you
employees
asked
so
that.
that they would have time to decide before the enrollment. Of course, I can do an email, we can do it on our new TVs, and which we're fixing to update as of May 1st. Have you got to see some of those, Ms.
I've looked at-
Atkins?
I like the percentages that we're using personally.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said I like the percentages that we're presently using.
Even for the family,
Yes, ma'am.
I still would like to go the 200. I'd like to add that 200 from the town for the families.
I would like to support that. I kind of thought we decided on that
I
last
thought, I
time.
did too. I
Yeah.
thought that was
Yeah,
already
okay.
decided.
So, yeah,
Okay,
I
this is
support
just,
that.
I wanted to provide you
Yeah.
with just the
Yes.
sheet with just that amount on it.
Okay,
Mhm,
okay.
Yes.
All right.
Ms.
Okay.
Johnson, yes, we decided that last
That's
time.
what I thought we did.
Okay,
I
good.
wanted to make sure, so that we,
Okay, perfect.
okay.
200 for family plan. 200 for family plan.
It would be a total of, instead of $350 addition by the town, it'd be $550. Mhm. And I also provided on the first page responses that I received back from TLC for all the questions that I asked, just so you could see what they said. It says you can change your employee contribution for your internal processes. The current employee contributions on your data sheet are not used by TLC for any reasons outside of certifying your data sheet, which is with Cardinal. So that's where they stated we could make changes. TLC does not offer an alternate plan for couples that work for the same employer. Ms. Atkins, I did ask, and that's what this is their exact words. I copied it into my letter so that you know.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
And of course, it did say the closing date, to clarify, that data sheet was April 1st, and I can't make any changes to that, but that's okay. And then they also stated, I asked them about the blending rates. I asked them their take on that, and they said the blending rate is decided at the employer level. Apparently, our locality made a decision at some point in the past to blend the rates, and that has been coded in the system. And since I can't change it this year, they said I could change it next year on that sheet, but still, again, it doesn't affect what we decide to do. So if you guys are okay with that $550, we'll get that, our employer premium rate sheet, health insurance rate sheet changed, and get notification out to them that these changes have been made, and move forward.
So do you need us to vote on that this evening? I mean, is that something that needs voting, or just the way it's put in the budget? And
I don't think we vote on it. I think we just, or
Yeah.
I don't know how we do it.
I'd like to see us vote.
You want to
Make a little
vote? Just
bit.
make it official? Okay.
are you guys okay with that? Because I haven't heard much, Ms. Atkins, anything.
I mean,
What are your thoughts on that?
well, anything to just try to help the employees with the insurance, because I believe it's critical. I know it's sort of been difficult for families for many, 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 many years, so
Yes.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Fine with it.
Okay.
I am too. I'm glad that we can help some. I know that we can't absorb all of the costs.
Right.
But I'm happy that we're able to pay a little bit more towards that, going from the 350 to the 550.
Yes.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so how do you want us to, the dialogue?
I mean, it's up to you guys if you want to vote. I mean, if discussion all are in approval, what do you think,
It's
Ms.
probably, you
Corbin?
need to make a motion to approve adding the $200
Okay.
per month for the employee plus one in the family plan.
Just that way, it would be formally in the notes.
Yes, it'll be in the minutes in the
Okay.
future if somebody needs to find it,
Perfect.
it's accessible.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the $200 extra with the employee plus one and family plan.
All right, so we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? I will make this a roll call vote. Stan?
Aye.
Patterson,
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Johnson, aye.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you
Thank
for all
you
your
very
hard
much.
work.
Thank you for your research, Ms. Elder.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
It's very helpful.
Thank you.
I think I'm still here for another one,
You
so.
are. Thank you. Moving on down the budget, the next item, the agenda, the next item is to talk about capital improvement projects. We've done this several times, but you see on that cover sheet of the budget information you have, looks like this with the two charts on them. The first chart is a summary. I know we're gonna make you scramble.
And so they moved it over here.
Looks like that.
Yes.
Because there's been
Yeah,
some
I got
changes.
mine. Do you you have an extra one?
Oh, thank you. Is this one last
I
time?
just moved it.
It should be.
Hold on, I got it. Here it is. I knew. I moved it up under some stuff over here.
But you see on that first chart, just all the capital improvement projects that are proposed and the amounts for those, and those are presently in the budget. I think we've talked about all these. The ones that we did improve, or we did put in the budget that had some issues was the dog park. That was originally in budget some years ago, was taken out and is back in and can be as a sinking fund if that's what you would like. We had decreased the request for new carpet and painting in the town offices, but you see at your request, we've placed that back at $20,000. The rest of them, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. The one thing that we did have some discussion on was the replacing the main pool heater at the community center. Ms. Johnson had some questions about that, and I'll wait till she returns to just talk to you about that generally. Everything else, I think, is as we had talked about. The one thing you see blank there is a fire truck, and I think Chief Slimp had pretty well explained to you all that looking at some other fire truck suppliers, the need to order a fire truck at this point is lessened because he thinks he can get another supplier that can do a fire truck in 2 years rather than the 3 to 4 year lead time that he was thinking about. So the decision to order a fire truck, I think, is off the table at the present time. We did add the $35,000 to do a pre-planning study for a cat shelter at your request. We added the comprehensive plan in there. That is at 150. And we did have some increases when we went back with Chief Slim of about $33,000, almost $34,000 in items that he needed for the upcoming year that we had originally reduced. And now that Vice Mayor Johnson is back, I'll talk about the pool heater. That is listed there about mid-page in that first chart. We've placed an amount of $40,000. There was some question about that before because there had been a 2022, I think maybe an estimate or a quote from National Pools that about $22,000, and we thought it would cost about $3,000 to install it. However, as prices have increased, that is now at $40,000, and we have a firm price from Train to put that in at $40,000. When we went back to National Pools to ask about that, they said, if you can get that installed for $40,000, take that bid. So I think that's a legitimate number to use for that replacement. But certainly before we actually did it, it would be reevaluated to make sure that's a good price. But so I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay. I was just looking back at some former notes where they had made that request, and I just wanted to know why it had changed, essentially.
And then we get into the next box, which I think Laura will be involved in, unless there are any questions about any of the capital improvement project. And those are salary increase requests that we've had. I think most of you are reasonably familiar with the wastewater and the water treatment plant requests. There may be some minor changes if we go back to a 4%, across the board versus the equally divided. There may be a few dollar changes in some of those, and we do have some updates as of today on those numbers. They're increasing by the $35,000 for the water plant will increase to about $36,000, and the wastewater plant will increase to about $69,300. So there are some slight increases in those numbers.
And what was the water plant, Mr. Moore?
It should be about $36,000. I think Laura has the most recent update, because of some changes that were figured there.
Okay.
And what about wastewater?
It'd be about $69,298.
Water
You said 50
is, I'm sorry.
59,000?
69. It went up to 69, about $3,000 increase.
And water the same. It went up to 36,804.
What did you say, Laura? 36 what?
804.
Thank you.
So I would like to.
And we're going to go through these in more detail if y'all would like.
I would like to.
Yes, okay.
And with the information that I requested from Ms. Hildreth as well.
The pay change?
Yes,
form?
ma'am.
Okay.
And there were some people who received pay increases, and I would like to see those and go into more detail. I would like to do a comparison.
Okay.
And go into more detail because I know people were given increases to stay, and I need to see what those increases were to do a comparison.
Okay.
I know that, and then there are times when some people could just ask for an increase and they got it. And so I need to take a look at things because I want to be fair to everybody across the board. I know that somebody asked for a pay increase and they received 12 cents when others received higher pay increases. And so that individual left because they only received 12 cents. So I would like to look at all of those before I make a decision on any of these. I know the wastewater plant is vital. I know that we do need to make increases there and take a look at those, but I want to make sure that it is done right and in order.
Okay.
So
And
I
we'll
would-
probably be able to get all those together. It will be by tomorrow. We worked
fine.
on them today, but we don't have the full.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to take a look. and
We'll
do
have
some-
more time tomorrow, too.
Okay, and then when we go into detail, the detail that Mr. Moore has, I can do some comparisons, and take a look at that. Because I really do want to do that before I make a decision.
The bottom here, Mr. Haney.
I mean, are you talking about all of these categories, wanting to see what people have got rated?
Yes,
in?
sir.
Can I ask a question? Can we go into, Mr. Castle, can we go into closed session on these since it would be dealing with like some names?
I provided some other sheets as well. Well, actually, I put together a spreadsheet that's called Salary Increase Justification, and it's got each department, the job title, and the reason for the request.
Right, I actually asked for this.
Okay, was that you? Okay.
Well, for some reason, because,
Ms. Atkins, I'm not ignoring you, I'm looking.
oh, no, you're fine, you're fine. Right, I actually asked for this because some may have only been here for I'm just using this example. Some may have only been here for 6 months, and then we've got some that actually were given job duties, given a raise, and then I don't think, then they're like, well, maybe we need to look at hiring somebody else. I don't know if those raises went away after they were given because they didn't
Continue in the job.
continue in that job. And that's what I'm wanting to look at.
Okay.
And then, yes. So I just didn't know.
The answer is yes.
We can,
It's 2.23711A1.
okay.
And now you'll need to identify the departments, please.
Okay.
That we discussed.
I would like to go into a closed session to go into administration clerk, human resources, rec department, tourism, treasurer's office, water, and wastewater.
And there's police department in there also.
Well, I saw the police and fire. I probably,
Let's go ahead and identify them, so if it comes up, we
okay,
can
sure,
talk
let's
about
let's just do them all then. How about that?
23711, salaries regarding those employees of those departments is allowed.
And I'll use that code. Thank you. Whatever that code is, Ms. Corbin. If you don't mind, just to try to have you all understand sort of some of the concerns I've had that maybe some new council people may not be, I want you to know just what I have learned from this. So, thanks.
Okay. Do you want us to close doors?
But they haven't done the motion
Oh.
yet. Ms. Corbin, am I correct on that?
That's correct.
I would
We
like
need
to
a
make
motion
a-
to go into closed
I would like to
meeting.
make a motion, please, to go into closed session. On whatever code Mr. Cass, yep,
2.23711A1,
that's it.
personnel, salaries, and the named departments.
That's
Ms.
it.
Corbin has those up.
Yes, I do have them.
All right, so there is a motion on the table.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All right. Hearing none, this be a roll call vote. Vice Mayor?
Johnson, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye?
Hand, aye.
All right, so we are now in closed session.
Okay.
Town council is now in open session. I need a motion that's necessary to certify that only matters lawfully convening to the open session were discussed. I need a motion.
So moved.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? All right, this will be a roll call vote. Mr. Hand?
Joseph Hand, aye.
Harrison, aye.
Taylor, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Johnson, aye.
All right, we are now back in open session. And if we're down to the capital improvement projects.
Well, we've already gone over those.
Okay.
And we've gone through personnel adjustments, so we're in any other things you'd like to talk about in your packet. You do have the expenditures sheet. This is the one in the UVA colors and stripes there. Just for your information, those are updated. And you have the revenue sheets also with you. Those are the white sheets that look like this. This will show you what our projected revenues are. And there haven't been many changes. There have been some changes since the last time you saw these. I just wanted to kind of summarize the budget for you based on the first sheet that you have in the two boxes. Andrew threw me a little bit of a curve when he gave you those new water rates and showed that you would, if you enacted those water rates, you would generate about $1.56 million in additional revenue. So the $800,000 you see here would be about 1.56, which reduces the use of reserves to 1.323 million. So your reduction, should you adopt those water rates, just for your information, should you adopt those? I would point out in this budget, though, and I need to be very clear about this, the third line from the bottom, where it says use of VML loan for water and sewer projects for $2.47 million, that is a loan that was made to pay for the Lots Gap tank should Blue Star come. I think I've mentioned this. Blue Star doesn't look to be coming anytime soon, so therefore, since this money has to be spent by June 1 of 26, we are proposing that would be pulled out and used for water and sewer improvements that are in the budget. It does mean that should Blue Star come, you're going to have to go back to a lending agency and try to get that $2.47 million.
Mr. Hand's going to lend it to us.
He could probably.
Hand it over.
Right. So the budget is looking better in terms of if you raise water rates with a $1.3 million use of reserves. But I would caution you that this is a very uncertain year upcoming. We don't know what FEMA's going to do, and we certainly don't know what the economy is going to do. So I would suggest that going forward into the new year, keep a close monitor on revenues and how they're progressing and how your spending is. And if you need to, you may need to cut back significantly on spending. And it can be done. It's just very hard to do. I'm just saying that needs to be watched closely. So with these changes, you'll see another similar package to this come out for the budget, for your budget hearing upcoming. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, so it does have council member time on here. Does anybody want to? I think we've. Oh,
Mayor Taylor's
Holly.
like, no, not you.
All right, Holly, go.
No, ma'am, I think I'm good. Thank you.
I'm good, ma'am. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, council member time.
I don't have anything.
Councilwoman Pattison, you got anything?
Don't have a thing.
We're all clear.
I said no.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
All right, so Once again, council feels the need to go into closed session pursuant to 2.2-3711A1, discussion regarding the performance of appointed employees. And then also pursuant to 2.2-3711A1, discussion regarding the town manager position. So I have a motion.
So moved, Madam Mayor.
A motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further questions, dialogue? No? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
As well. Any opposed? All right. We are now going back into closed session. All right. Town council is now in open session. A motion is necessary to certify that only matters lawfully convening the open session were discussed. I need a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion, thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? This be a roll call vote. Vice Mayor?
Johnson, aye.
Atkins, aye.
Taylor, aye.
And I.
And we are now in open session. Is there anything else that needs to come for us? There are none. We are adjourned.